Good morning, everyone. I hope this video finds you in the best of health and spirit. This is a rather unusual video, but still, I feel it's indirectly related to my major topic of interest and concern. But just to give this a break, it's like a sandwich video, okay, between my more important videos. The title of this video is quite unusual, and you will not be able to guess it. Why we need a food revolution and a brain, body, and a body healthy revolution, and the brain and body healthy food, why it must become the norm. Okay, I'm this way making this video again as a small digression before I prepare for other videos. Okay, I have been recently looking at the Light of Asia restaurant name from the year 1935. This operated in the Fort area in Mumbai, now no, which was then known as Bombay, and it closed way back in the year 2018. Okay, I also reviewed some early old restaurant menus from Kolkata in the 1940s. Firpo's restaurant of Kolkata, which was established in 1917 by Mr. Angel Firpo. In Kolkata in the 1940s, a full non-vegetarian buffet could be had for 3 rupees and a few annas. Okay, the annas is obsolete now. And even in this Light of Asia menus, all the prices are annas and rupees. It was mostly non-vegetarian. We had obscure items which are such as bovril soup, which are now abandoned because it is beef based, beef broth based. Okay, and mostly I would imagine British patronized this restaurant heavily, and Indians mostly did not, unless they were Anglo Indians or some highly westernized Indians. And some party dishes like buffet and Goan Catholic dishes such as muali were also served. Okay, many cuisines such as Chinese and Italian cuisine were unheard of then. Items like paneer, mushroom, etc. were unheard of. Okay, even South Indian items were not found in the menu. Therefore, we always have a changing food landscape and a changing food culture. Okay, what exactly is a food culture? It is sum total of the cultural habits and food cuisine at a particular point of time. It also encompasses trends and cultural change. Okay, it is the composition of cuisine. Okay, it may also be defined as interplay between food and cultural preferences. Food culture is the way people prepare, share, and experience food. It's a vital part of a community's identity. It is influenced by many factors that may include history, geography, social norms, cultural values, mores, etc. What exactly is included in food culture? Various aspects pertaining to food production, food consumption, food rituals, traditions and consumption associated with food, such as ceremonial traditions, etc. Okay, and communal feasts and banquets. Like for example, in Indonesia, we had one such tradition. I have spoken about it recently. Please read my work. Okay, it may also encompass the food beliefs and food etiquette of a particular community. Food culture, therefore, reflects community's history, geography, social norm, values, beliefs, social identity, group membership, also economic status and political relations also. Okay, there have been many noticeable and significant differences in the past 100 years. Ethnic foods have become more popular recently in the West, and in India, other cuisines are becoming more common. Even Thai and Japanese and Korean are slowly picking up, though they are by no means mainstream or widely eaten. Okay, there is a general movement towards less meat, slow shift towards vegetarianism and veganism, greater intermixing of cultures. Okay, and we also have the rise of ethnic foods, and global cuisine is emerging. It's a cuisine that is practiced all over the world. Okay, and ethnic food is a cuisine that is characterized by a peculiar style of cooking that is uh, particular to a particular region. But in order for a particular tradition to become a global cuisine, a local or regional national cuisine must spread around the world and must be served worldwide. For example, pizzas, spaghetti, pastas were not widely eaten in the USA 150 years ago. Mostly meats were eaten and some soup and some kind of broth. But now pizza, spaghetti, pasta have taken off in a big way in the West. And Indian foods are also becoming mainstream in the West. Now pizzas are becoming mainstream in India also. Okay, regional cuisine on the other hand is different from global cuisine, and it's based on national, state, or regional preferences. It may vary based on food availability, trade, different climates, different cooking traditions and practices, and cultural preferences, proclivities, and differences also. Okay, regional cuisine may be based on traditions and may also be known as ethnic cuisine. Okay, or culture specific cuisine. Okay. Now, what exactly is vegetarianism? Vegetarianism is the practice of abstaining from eating meat and other animal products. People who practice vegetarianism are naturally known as vegetarians. People become vegetarians for a large number of reasons: ethical reasons, religious beliefs, animal rights, belief in animal rights. Over vegetarianism is one type of vegetarianism. It includes eggs but not meat. Similarly, there are many types of vegetarianism. Lacto vegetarian means they eat dairy products but not eggs. Lacto ovo vegetarian means they eat egg and dairy products. Vegan means they don't eat any kind of dairy products, including milk, cheese, butter, and even yogurt or even honey for that matter. Okay, agreed. There are many health benefits of vegetarianism. It may reduce the risk of heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes. It may lower blood pressure and asthma symptoms. It may promote bone health. It may have fewer calories, less saturated fat and cholesterol, more fiber, more potassium, and more vitamin C. Okay, especially red meats are supposed to be harmful. Okay. On the other hand, if you see the trace the history of Homo sapiens 70, 80,000 ago, I think there was no vegetarianism. Most people took to meat eating because it gave them strength to hunt wild animal. On the other hand, if you trace the history of gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, many of the larger apes were primarily vegetarians. They consumed large amounts of fruit, nuts, etc. And plant-based food also. They were mostly vegetarians. Even this, in spite of all that, like elephants, they had a lot of strength, great deal of strength, great amount of strength. However, meat consumption appears to have taken off in the as the great apes morphed and metamorphosized into early humans, okay, hominins. I have written about this briefly, but not at a great level of depth. I may do so in the future. Now, if you try to trace the history of vegetarianism, according to most mainstream researchers, people in Indus Valley civilization, Sumeria, Mesopotamia, and Egypt ate meat. Okay, Hindu nationalists don't like the idea, but so many anthropologists think that Harappans ate beef also. Apparently, in Gangetic plains, beef was abandoned, and Brahmins also became vegetarians eventually. Upper castes, many of them became vegetarians, and there were records in ancient India of vegetarianism, especially among some sects of Hinduism and the Jains. Jains are said to be natural vegetarians. Jains mostly eat fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. That is why you find a lot of vegetarianism in Rajasthan and Gujarat regions. However, if you look at Buddhists, not all Buddhists are vegetarians. In the Mahayana Buddhist traditions, such as those in China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Korea, meat eating is generally prohibited, even though there are a large number of meat eaters there. In the Theravadin Buddhist traditions, meat eating is acceptable. Okay. Again, in Tibetan Buddhism, meat eating is acceptable. Okay. Again, there are variations. I have been to Bhutan. There is meat consumption. Even in Sri Lanka, there is meat consumption. Okay. And there are some records to indicate that people in ancient Greece and southern Italy also adopted vegetarianism. However, it was not widely prevalent or widespread. Some types of monks in medieval Europe, Christian monks, restricted or banned the consumption of meat for ascetic regions, but most of them consumed fish. But again, this was not the widely practiced. Now, most Christians are meat eating. Okay, and some of these monks were defined as pescatarian. Pescatarian is a person who does not consume meat but consumes fish. Okay, again, some data for the re-emergence of vegetarianism is said to have been put down, especially in the Renaissance and Enlightenment periods. Again, the meat consumption was the norm, and the vegetarians number of vegetarians was small, and they were few and far in between. In India, there are a large number of vegetarians. It's probably the most vegetarian country in the world, both in terms of population as well as the number of vegetarians. 30% of people in India are vegetarian, especially Gujarat, Rajasthan region. However, in places like Telangana and Kerala, number of vegetarians is very small. Famous vegetarians included the Indian philosophers such as Parshavnatha, Mahavira, Acharya Kundakunda, Umaswati, Samantabhadra and Valluvar. Okay, Chandragupta Maurya and Ashoka also practiced dabbled with vegetarianism to some degree, and people like Mahatma Gandhi was a vegetarian. Albert Einstein is said to have been a vegetarian part of his life. Pythagoras, Leo Tolstoy, Paul McCartney of the Beatles, Franz Kafka, George Bernard Shaw, etc. George Bernard Shaw was famously a vegetarian because he said civilized people don't eat corpses. Many other people dabbled in vegetarianism but were not vegetarians throughout their life. Now, what exactly is veganism? Veganism is a philosophy and lifestyle that bans the use of uh, dairy products, honey, etc. According to the famous American writer Joan Stepanek, author of the Vegan Source Book, the word vegan was dated to the year 1962 and is attributed to the Oxford English Dictionary, and this refers to a person who avoids dairy products as well, in addition to meat. It's a relatively new concept and became popular in the early 20th century and late 20th century and early 21st century. It has not yet become popular. However, you have some vegans in India like Amir Khan, Alia Bhatt, and a few other people. Ritesh Deshmukh. I'm not getting into all this in detail. And organic food, biological food, or ecological food is also becoming very popular nowadays. This began as a movement to grow organic. The organic movement began to increase in the 1950s as a reaction to the country's growing reliance on synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, which were viewed by some sections of people as being harmful. We have had farms, experimental farms such as Hope Farm, which dabbled in organic farming also to some extent. We also have permaculture as a growing movement, and it's a design philosophy which aims to create sustainable systems. And organic food revolution is being attempted in different parts of India and the world. Okay, it has found taken roots in Sikkim but failed in Sri Lanka. They've been trying promoting it in Andhra Pradesh also. We also recently have other trends such as artificial meat, which is cultured meat or cultivated meats. It is a form of cellular architecture where meat is produced by culturing animals or cells animal cells in vitro. In vitro means in glass or outside the body, because the term vitro means glass. It uses biotechnology to grow meat artificially. Okay, Jason Matheny popularized the concept in the early 2000s. Okay, and he created New Harvest, the world's first non-profit organization dedicated to in vitro meat research. In 2013, Mark Post created a hamburger patty made from tissue grown outside the animal. In 2020, Super Meat opened a farm to fork restaurant in Tel Aviv called the Chicken, serving cultured chicken burgers on a trial basis. The world's first commercial sale of cell cultured chicken meat occurred in December 2020 at a Singapore restaurant. Okay, and this is a new trend. We don't know what direction it will take. There have been many artificial meat companies like Mozambique, Aleph Farm, Blue Nalu, Upside Foods, Finless Foods, Good Meat, Clear Meat, etc. And we have Indian companies also, such as Ahimsa Food Company and Neat Meat, etc. However, there are some problems with artificial meat because they are highly processed, they can induce diabetes, but they have questionable nutritional value and they are also associated with high cost. Food culture can therefore change. Okay, food culture has indeed changed over the past couple of centuries. For example, if you see the origin of tomato was originated in the Andes Mountains of South America and were first domesticated in Mexico. The Aztecs, ancient Aztecs, cultivated tomato, and tomatoes were domesticated in pre-Columbian Mexico. The Spanish introduced tomatoes to Europe in the 16th century only. Before that, tomatoes were virtually unknown in Europe, including Italy. But now, tomatoes are very popular, particularly in Italy. And the first mention of tomatoes in Europe was only by the Italian botanist Pietro Mattioli Andreas in 1544. Okay, chili likewise originated in South and Central America, and it spread because Christopher Columbus brought chilies to Europe. European explorers brought chilies back to the old world in the late 16th century, 1500s, and today chilies are cultivated all over the world. And it is difficult for most Indians to imagine that chilies are not of Indian origin. However, pepper is of Indian origin. Black pepper is native to Malabar region of Kerala and India and is grown in some other parts of India, in neighboring Tamil Nadu and some parts of southern Karnataka. It has been grown for thousands of years here. Pepper was also mentioned in Greek and Roman history. Okay, it was part of the mummification process of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses the Great. Okay, who lived in the 14th century BC. Alexander the Great also took pepper with him when he conquered parts of Asia. Similarly, Vasco da Gama brought pepper to Europe from India. Okay, again, we need to have a food revolution across the world because we need to have more health oriented food because people are assimilating a more, what do you say, lazy lifestyle, sedentary lifestyle. Okay, lot of work needs to be done, and we have a lot of scientific mumbo jumbo, which is impractical because we need a culture specific approach and a practical down to earth approach. For example, in science fiction, they have spoken about food capsules, okay, which is very highly idiotic and idealistic, quixotic. It won't work in the real world. They were promoted in science fiction movies. It was said that they are nutritionally wholesome. They were even sometimes called meal in a pill. And in the year 18, in the 1887 satirical novel Republic of the Future, which was based in the year 2050, which is yet to come, Anna Bauman Dodd describes food tablets being delivered to apartments in New York. Okay. Similarly, American suffrage suffragette Mary Elizabeth Lees predicted that by 1993 humans would eat only synthetic food, liberating women from mundane chores, etc. This has not come to pass. Even in some early Victorian exhibitions in England, artificial food capsules were touted to be the food of the future, but it has not come to pass. Therefore, we need human touch. That's what a cultural anthropologist needs to make sure of. Make sure he needs to rein in the unnatural trends. We need to have culture specific approaches. Economic factors must be taken into account. For example, if you see list of brain healthy foods, you have berries, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, mulberries, but we cannot live on them all day. We have citrus fruits which contain vitamin C, kale, spinach, collards, broccoli, asparagus, nuts such as walnuts. We also have heart healthy foods such as leafy greens, citrus fruits, sweet potatoes, tomatoes, beets, yellow peppers, avocados, nuts and seeds, olive oil, etc. Therefore, the intellectual and physical well-being of the population is very important because obesity is becoming a pandemic, especially in developing countries which are now becoming richer and richer. And we need to have, because I know certain people who became very heavy, 200, 220 kilos. How do we proceed with this? What I believe is restaurateurs and chefs must take the lead. They must collaborate with other nutritionists, cultural anthropologists, etc. The role of cultural anthropologists in all these activities is rather limited now, and it must expand because it is very obsolete and antiquated. I've been writing about this for many years now, all donkeys years. We still have a long way to go, but we must take the first baby steps in this regard. It is indeed possible because for those of you who are non-vegetarians, we have a famous dish in India called chicken 65. As the name suggests, it is not a very old dish. It was only invented in the 1960s, but has now become immensely and humongously popular, not just in India but all over the world. The dish chicken 65 originated in a hotel called in Chennai, Madras, called Hotel Buhari in the year 1965. The dish was invented by a gentleman called A.M. Buhari, who was the owner of this hotel. Okay, so this is just a very light-hearted video. I'm just taking this as a intermediary video, and I hope this video not only tickles your taste buds, I hope it also exercises your graces. Both are extremely important. With this, I bring this video to an end. Thank you very much for giving me a patient hearing. Bye.